Aunt Beryl. It's my church sister. All right, we're moving on now, and it is indeed, I think, an opportunity that the Leader of the Opposition is anticipating, which is to stand here this morning and make his comments in this auspicious occasion, of the naming of this building in honor of someone who was his leader, who was Prime Minister of this country, the former Prime Minister, Portia Simpson Miller. So, Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding, please join us. Join me at the lectern.
There's a river back there. Thank you very much, Madam Master of Ceremonies, Prime Minister, Ministers Charles and Grange, Junior Minister Williams, Acting PS Jennings. I see so many people in the audience, so I know I don't want to get into a long naming thing. Greetings to each and everyone who is here. I can see a councillor here for the Almontown Division. Yes, nice to see you. It's really an honor to be asked to speak at a ceremony that is seeking to acknowledge the important role that the Most Honorable Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller played in national development by dedicating this building in her name. She came from relatively humble beginnings, Woodall, St. Catherine, and her teenage years and development of her activism took place in the area which I am now the Member of Parliament for, on Francis Lane, and then into what is now Southwest St. Andrew, where she became a councillor, I believe, in 1974, and an MP in 1976, and served in Parliament right through from then until 2017. Portia Simpson Miller, of course, became Jamaica's first female Prime Minister. She became the first President of the People's National Party who was a woman. So her place in our history is unique and unchallengeable. For somebody who has achieved those significant milestones, the naming of this building after her is an important step in the right direction. She is worthy of much more, and I'm sure there will be much more to come in the future. But she did serve for some 11 years as the person who was responsible for labor matters in the government, Minister of, it had various names, and I thank you for this booklet. So she was the Minister of Labor from 1989 to February 2000, combining it with welfare and sports for the first 4 years, then for 2 years after that with welfare, and then for 5 years after that with social security and sports, but always responsible for labor matters. And the labor movement was dear to her heart, and this particular establishment, which really focused on the overseas work program, was something that she paid particular attention to. She was insistent that the dignity of our workers, especially those who would be traveling far abroad to work, was maintained, that their rights were protected, and that the necessary institutional mechanisms were established that would ensure that that took place. So the Overseas Liaison Service was set up to provide that kind of support in the countries where they worked, and so that they could have somebody to call, somebody who would be looking out for them while they were there. Sister P went on, of course, to take on other responsibilities later on. Before she became Prime Minister, she was Minister of Tourism, and it was under her watch that the massive development of Jamaica's tourism industry really began, with the infusion of foreign investment at levels that were previously unheard of. So her legacy is wide-ranging. And then as Prime Minister from January 2012 to March 2016, she oversaw the successful implementation of an extremely challenging financial program under the auspices of the IMF, at a time when Jamaica had abandoned its previous program and had no access to international credit. She used significant political capital to restore the relationship with the multinational financial community, in particular the IMF, the IDB, and the World Bank, got Jamaica back into a program and executed on that program with remarkable dexterity. It was a difficult program involving high levels of primary surplus to begin the process of restoring Jamaica to debt sustainability, and involving major structural changes in the tax system and the legislative support for that, and the commercial architecture of the country. And it was because of the unfailing belief that the Jamaican people had in her, that she would never sell them out, that she could be relied on to uplift and defend the rights of ordinary Jamaican people, especially the workers, that we got through that period with no industrial unrest or any other kind of disharmony, but executed and delivered on it. And that continued after she demitted office, and current Prime Minister assumed that role. And that program has led us to where we are now, where we have a relatively well-managed public financial system, and our debt to GDP ratio is below many first world countries and many of our regional peers. So big up, Sister P. Your legacy is solid, and your delivery for Jamaica deserves every accolade. I am aware, of course, that there are other institutions with which she's associated and which I'm hoping will also have the benefit of being named after her. I have in mind the Children's Hospital in St. James in Montego Bay in Mount Salem, which was her brainchild, and which she made the necessary interventions with the Chinese government to secure their financial support for that project. And it was very dear to her heart. But we will see what happens with that. But certainly today, we have to honor her and bless her. She's not able to be with us, which is very unfortunate. But she is deserving, as I have said, of every accolade and honor that could be bestowed on her. Prime Minister, I see at the last function when we were honoring Lyndon Newland, Jamaica's first Labour Minister after independence, and the man under whose watch the NIS, National Insurance System, was introduced. A system which had been developed in the UK from 1911 and has been a successful institution for providing especially pensions, but other forms of relief across the Commonwealth. That was pioneered in Jamaica by Lyndon Newland, and we have honored him today. You made some remarks about the National Housing Trust coming out of the NIS. That isn't actually accurate. The National Housing Trust was a new institution and really unique to Jamaica, formulated under the leadership of the then Prime Minister Michael Manley. The NIS payment system was adopted for a couple of years to facilitate its rapid introduction while the legislation was developed and passed and the institution was established. It really didn't come out of the NIS. The NIS was simply a mechanism that was in place that enabled the payments system of the NHT to be operationalized while it was being established as an institution. But we're very glad that the NHT has sustained itself for so many decades. It's its 50th year this year. And like the NIS, it is one of the important institutions helping to make life more accessible, the benefits of life more accessible to ordinary Jamaican people. So whenever there are occasions like this where we can come together and honor those who have served so well, it is a joy and a pleasure to be part of it. So big up Lyndon Newland, the founder of the NIS, and big up Sister P, the lady who brought me into Parliament in 2007 and made me an officer of the party in 2009, and under whose leadership I served as Minister of Justice for 4 years. Somebody very dear to my heart, Portia Simpson Miller. God bless her. One love.
I love the terms of endearment that we Jamaicans give to our dearest. For Lyndon Newland, it was Uncle Doc from the family, and here it is Sister P. And we understand that